The Great Ponyville Bank Heist written by Bert the Man with a Plan. Anon is low on cash. Well, actually, he's not low on cash but rather bits. He's also recently been turned into a unicorn mare, but that's not important. What is important is that Anon decided to rob a pony bank for pony currency, and that it also ended rather poorly. It was another glorious day in Ponyville. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and the sky was bluing. Whatever. Anon lost his junk. Now, he didn't do it on purpose. In fact, he would place the blame of his sudden wiener loss on the pony gods, as they apparently like to point and laugh at concerned mortals for no apparent reason. Exhibit A, when asked why they took away his schmeat, they essentially responded to his prayer with, "Oh, you weren't a girl when you were a human. Get pranked, loser, ha ha ha." Also, questioning the work of any divine is totally a sin LMAO, and then proceeded to call upon the wrath of motherfucking Zeus to smite his house. They burned down his house, which had been teleported into Equestria alongside him, for asking what happened to his fat juicy maleness, and then laughed at him again. Yeah, real group of wisecrackers they are. Truly so funny. Anon could almost puke from laughing because of how fucking funny they were. Yes, there may be some bad blood between Anon and godly beings, but in his mind's eye they started it. Anyway, he's piss poor. Well, she is piss poor. They? Ugh. She didn't have money, at least not pony money. Her human dollar bills were useless here, so she needed bits. The thing is, nobody would hire her. Her cutie mark was a question mark, which seemed to of course only raise questions to what she could actually do. It was a bunch of baloney. She wasn't homeless, thank God. Or in this case, fuck God, she shared a house with one Lyra Heartstrings and her roommate Bonbon, but only after she'd promised both of them that she would get a job, which currently was not working, and she'd tried almost everything, from retail, to carpentry, to even goddamn substitute teaching. Anon isn't very good with kids, as it turns out. So now there were only two choices she was left with, at least in her mind. The first, crime. The second, well, they say you're not gay until you need money. Anon shivered. She would rather not. Plus she had a plan. A plan that would set her up with enough bits to last more than a year. A plan to rob the Ponyville Bank. Now morally it was wrong, of course. But Anon knew that the bank was owned by Celestia, who would probably just pay back the stolen funds, stopping the population from suffering. It's a good thing the royalty was fucking stacked, or else she'd feel bad about committing robbery. Maybe. Now, she double-checked everything to make sure there was no possible chance for failure. Bandana? Fastened. Bag for carrying bits? Ready for a withdrawal. Gun? Not real, but black and scary. Knuckles? Non-existent, but cracked spiritually. Yep, it's robbing time. She could feel her heart began to race as she approached the front doors. It would probably be the most excitement she'd ever get in her life. She took a deep breath, rerunning the plan through her head once more. 1. Her fur began to bristle. 2. She grabbed the door with her magic. All right, let's do this. 3. She threw open the door. Everything went wrong so fast. As soon as Anon crossed the threshold to the bank, she froze in shock, which turned to horror. Her heart felt as if it had plummeted off of a skyscraper when she locked eyes with everyone in the room. She began to shake. Celestia was there. The bank was holding a fundraiser. And because Celestia was there, so were her fucking guards. Oh, Anon may have escalated the situation from there. She also may have let panic cloud her judgment, and she might have thought to herself, fuck, what would a real bank robber do in this scenario? She might have taken a hostage. Yeah, she totally did. Anon decided on a rather downtrodden-looking gray earth pony as her hostage because she figured, well, he already looks like he wants to kill himself, so why not? But now she was stuck with a really sad hostage. Back off. Or I swear to Pony Christ I'll end this little gray-haired loser. You'd be doing me a favor, man, shut up. You're supposed to be pleading for your life. Her voice squeaked. The dude hadn't even tried to stop her when she wrapped her hooves around him and placed the gun to his temple. I have no life to plead for. He droned out rather lazily, his eyes staring blankly at the floor. Come on, man, lighten up, will you? Anon mumbled. Let the stallion go. Anon flinched at the royal canterlet voice projected from Celestia. The shock almost made her drop her gun. No, you daft bird. He's my hostage. Anon's shout caused the stallion to sigh, the sound coming out shaky, as if he was a second away from a breakdown. Hostage or not, sometimes it feels good to be held. His voice cracked. Anand's grip on the gun slackened just a bit, her eyes focusing on the pony in her grasp. Her face scrunched up. "Jesus dude, are you okay?" The stallion whimpered, his eyes starting to shine with unshed tears. He shook his head as his bottom lip quivered. There's only so many times you can respond to the question, "How are you doing?" with "living the dream" before you just want to wake up. He started crying. Anand was not ready for this. This doesn't happen in the movies. How is she supposed to handle this? She pat his shoulder. There. It's gonna be fine." Celestia began shouting again. "You fiend, stop hurting him." "I'm not. You belligerent fat-assed sun worshipper. I am the sun." "Well, you're certainly big enough to be the sun. Hey." Meanwhile her hostage didn't make a sound. Not a single sob escaped him, he just kept crying. He was like a never-ending fountain of tears. "Stop." Everyone's attention fell on the hostage when he shouted. The pony paused before once again regaining that dull look. He shrugged, another sigh escaping him, this one exasperated. He began to vent seemingly unaware, or uncaring, of the attention. "My emotional stability has teetered past the edge. I've fallen so far that I can no longer see the light. My heart burns with the agony of 1,000 souls. I'm so young and yet I feel as if I've passed the mortal threshold for sanity. I can feel that distance between each dose of serotonin increasing day by day. There is no hope for me anymore, no joy, no love. All of my bread is stale, and my peanut butter has been replaced with mustard. There is no salvation for me, only the cold sweet embrace of death. But what happens after that? Paradise, perhaps? Or maybe the abyss? What in the name of Faust?" Celestia muttered, gobsmacked. "Faust." He chuckled humorlessly, "I've prayed for a life better than the one I have. And Faust has continued to spit in my face day in and day out. My coffee grows sour with each day that passes. Not because I've left it out overnight, but because that small little joy I once gained from drinking it each morning no longer gives me comfort. It now only reminds of the dull repetitive sequence my existence has become. The pain keeps increasing, yet the pleasures don't. The everlasting motivation of chasing my dreams has crashed into a burning wreckage of morbid nihilism. My own mirror shows a monster that no nightmare could have possibly created. I no longer pray for the light because all I know is darkness." The stallion scoffed, which made Anand flinch slightly. "When it is all said and done, when the sun has burned out and the moon has crashed into the planet, I will have achieved nothing more than my fellow pony. I am not extraordinary nor above the average accomplishments of any pony else. With the sands of time, I will be forgotten, every hope and every dream washed away in a sea of cosmic non-understandability. I watch the days go by, unable to control the rate at which they do. They blend together. There is nothing new to glean, just another day doing the same thing. Why? I gain nothing from following a schedule. Why should I even try to think ahead when in the end, the instant gratification of following my own compulsions is so much sweeter than waiting for those long-term investments, the same investments that society said would give me fulfillment? Why pray when hope is arbitrary? Why pray when in the end, there will be nothing to show for it?" Anand and Celestia looked at each other, stunned, their pupils shrunken to pinpricks as the stallion took another breath to continue speaking. "I have seen the world through the looking glass. Watched it crack and warble due to the conflicting worldviews I've learned and been taught. I've been told what to love and what to hate. I'm told that in the end my deeds will have morality and weight. But who will weigh those deeds? The cosmos has no need for morality. And the very same ponies who judged my worth on the way I conducted myself will have been reduced to dust long before the stars bleed out. Every part of myself that people judge my worth on: money, looks, intelligence, power. Those parts of myself which I'm told to focus on the most. In the end, they will matter the least. In the end, all those years of trying to appease the collective whole I've been surrounded by will have led me to nothing." The stallion looked up to the ceiling, slumping slightly as a final tear rolled down his eye. "When all of the things we've attributed with happiness don't matter in the end. Did they ever matter in the beginning?" Silence hung the air as everyone in the bank, including the guards, stood in complete befuddlement. Then the stallion sighed. "That is to say that my filly friend broke up with me, and as the saying goes, you are what you eat." He sniffled. "And I guess I wasn't enough." His sobs began to fill the room as he finally broke down. Anand tossed his gun to the floor. "Just arrest me, damn it." She sighed. "I should have just sold my body for bits," she mumbled, her face scrunching up at the puddle of tears that had formed at her hooves. "Great, seize her." Every single guard in the bank proceeded to dogpile her. So the plan didn't work. Well, actually, it did kinda. As it turns out, if you're jobless because your cutie mark conflicts with work, then it's possible to get a stipend from the government, which was actually why a charity was being held that day, to build up funds for the disenfranchised. Yeah, Anon could have just asked Celestia for help and it would have been fine, but now she'll forever be known as the mayor that tried to steal from a fundraiser. As it also turns out, robbing a bank is a very serious crime with very serious consequences for anyone involved with said serious crime. There is some good news, however. Because Anon had surrendered, she'd only got community service. But there was a catch. Her punishment was decided by Celestia. Well, Celestia, much like every other divine being, it seems has a sick sense of humor. Because she sentenced Anon to 6 months as a volunteer friendship therapist. Bitch. Does she look like a therapist? Anon was 100% sure she made that up on the spot, the cheeky sun horse. Also, volunteer? Correct Anon if she's wrong, but isn't forced volunteer work is just slavery with extra steps? Anyways. So now here she was, sitting on a bench while the stallion who cried an ocean of tears in the bank sat beside her, eating some soft-serve vanilla ice cream. His name was Debbie Downer, who would have thought, and he was currently trying his hardest not to meet her eyes, his face burning red in embarrassment. Hey, Anon, he mumbled. She groaned in agitation. He'd clearly wanted to ask her something for well over an hour and it was starting to get annoying. Yeah, Dee shuffled his hooves, clearing his throat as he finally managed to look Anon in the eyes. Will you go on a date with me, for fuck's sake? That wasn't a no? Anon grumbled, I'm not gay, alright, but I'm not a mayor. No, but I don't like dick. Then, doesn't that mean you're gay? Shut up, Dee. Okay. Anon just sighed. It was gonna be a long 6 months. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video make sure to like and leave a comment and share it with a friend. See you all later.